We believe that life is better connected, and our aim is to help our young people find genuine friends and a supportive community. We also think that the best way to navigate this COVID season is by engaging together in smaller groups. We would love to help get them connected in this way by joining one of our Hangout groups. For any questions or further information, just email youth@forgechurch.com or check out the Forge website. Hello and welcome to Motion Live. My name is Tim and I'm going to be leading you through this next half an hour or so that we have got planned for you tonight. Let us know in the chat that you're watching. We say it every week, but it's great to see you. So many of you engaging in this. It's been great to see. So we've got a great week planned for you. Now, instead of this week, we're not going to do a quiz this week like we've been doing the last few weeks, but instead we're going to be doing a poll, an online poll. Now, I need you to go on to menti.com, menti.com, and then later on I'll give you the PIN number that you'll need to fill out our poll. Now, this week we're going to want to know what is the best fast food chain restaurant, and you've got a few choices on there, which I'll give you the PIN a little bit later on. We've also got we've got the 4th episode of Knock and Fun, where this week we're going to be testing the leader's ability to use a Nerf gun. So let's see who comes out on top for that a little bit later on. This week we're going to mix things up. We're going to change the order a little bit. So we're going to do the talk right at the start of our time tonight. So going to change that, where we continue our series called Habits. It's been a great series and I've really enjoyed it. So we're going to start that a little bit. But before that, let's go on to this poll. So menti.com, if you go on a phone, a laptop, wherever you're on, menti.com. And if you type in this PIN number, it is 12769064. Hopefully you can see it on the screen right now. 12769064. And then, we've got some votes going on already. So let's see which one of those is your favourite. I'm definitely going to go for Pizza Hut when I vote, but let's see which one you guys choose. And we'll check that out later on. We'll see who's going to win. Okay, cool. Now it's time for our talk of the series called Habits. Like I said, I've just loved this series. It's been so helpful for me, and I hope it's been helpful for you guys too. The best part for me has just been the Bible readings each day, going on that. It's just been so good to see the comments that have been going on, and also just to see so many of you guys that have been engaged with it as well. So thank you to all those people who have joined in. So habits, what is all that about? So we're kind of saying, actually, sometimes it's really difficult to maintain a relationship with a God that we can't see. And if we're supposed to have this relationship, we're supposed to love God all the time. How do we do it? And that's what this series has all been about creating those habits in our life to kind of maintain that relationship with God. So we're going to go straight into the talk now. So let's check it out. Here's something that I think most of us can relate to. Do you have that one friend or family member who's one of your favourite people on the planet, but for whatever reason you rarely see them in person? For me, it's our best friends Dan and Jen Wasp. They live in South Africa with their 4 children, but whenever they come back home, or if we're lucky enough to head out there, it's so easy just to catch up where we left off. Because we can't see them all the time, we try as hard as we can to stay connected. My wife Becky and Jen each week will send voice messages to each other, catching up on life. Dan and I are less regular with this, but we'll often send the odd voice note and the odd joke over text message. You get the idea. Even though we can't see each other in person, it doesn't mean that our relationship goes away. It does, however, mean that we have about taking time to connect. Because it won't just happen by accident. We won't run into each other at church or bump into them in a queue at McDonald's. We have to make a habit of connecting so the relationship doesn't suffer. For the past couple of weeks, we've been talking about this same idea when it comes to God. When we make certain things a habit, it makes it easier to connect with Him. And as a result, it helps us get to know Him better. One of the habits that we can practice to know God better is talking about Him to others. And you may be thinking, how in the world do I get to know God better just by talking about Him? That sounds a little too easy, and if that were the case, why don't more people do it? I think when it comes down to it, the idea of talking about God, our faith and our relationship with God, makes us all a little bit nervous. We immediately have questions like, what if I don't know what to say? You know, when we have a conversation with somebody, especially someone who isn't familiar with what it means to follow God, and the subject of faith comes up, it's hard to know what to say. Or maybe, what if we sound stupid? What if someone asks us what we believe about a controversial subject? And what if we fumble our way through our explanation or our viewpoint? Or how about, what if we don't know enough about what we believe? For some of us, we may not even be sure what we believe. In fact, some of you may be thinking, you think we should talk about our faith? I'm not even sure if I have any. If that's you, don't worry. We totally get it, and you're still in the right place here today. Or maybe we think, what if we offend someone? What if someone disagrees with us, or if we disagree with them? The idea of us admitting that we're Jesus followers can cause some fear and insecurity because we don't want to find ourselves in a heated or angry argument. The thing is, the ideas we rehearse in our heads have the power to create our reality. Meaning, we can spend so much time being afraid of offending someone that when the time comes, we still end up saying something offensive. When it comes to talking about God, the last thing we want to do is prepare for failure. There was a guy named Peter who was one of Jesus' followers and closest friends. He wrote a couple of letters to some of the earliest Jesus followers in different parts of the Roman Empire. See, while it's tempting for us to believe that talking about God is only tricky for us here in modern times, the truth is, these ancient Christians experienced it firsthand too. Peter addressed this topic, and here is what he said. Always be prepared to give an answer to everyone who asks you to give the reason for the hope that you have. The words always be prepared are important to note, because Peter tended to be the kind of guy who flew by the seat of his pants, acting impulsively at times. But when it came to conversations about really big stuff, Peter had learned that it mattered to be prepared. So that's what he told the people he wrote to. Be prepared. Fair enough. But how do we get ready? Well, the same way that you get ready for a big game or an elaborate TikTok video or a big speech. We practice. Peter is challenging us to practice talking about God. He wants us to make a habit out of it. Let's say you have a friend or a classmate, a teammate or a bandmate who asks you the reason why you believe what you believe. Peter is basically saying, be ready to talk in that moment. Now, before you break into sweats, let's clear some things up. When Peter says, always be prepared to give an answer to everyone, he's not saying you should have to become a preacher. He's not saying that you have to understand 100% of the Bible. And he's not saying that we should be able to explain difficult topics. None of those are the point of what Peter's saying. Instead, he tells us what we should be prepared to give an answer about.
for the hope that you have. Peter is referring to what he did in situations where people questioned his reason for following Jesus. He shared his story and his understanding of Jesus. He didn't ask people to become experts, preachers, or speakers. He told them what he's telling you and me. Just be you. Share the hope that you have. Share your experience with God. And honestly, that helps you to relax. Because honestly, you and I have a lot of practice talking to other people about our experiences. You'll tell anyone who will listen why McDonald's is better than Burger King. You'll share your love for a Netflix series, a video game, or apps that you love. You'll give 5 reasons why dogs are better than cats to any random person on the street. In other words, we already know how to talk about things that we love and experiences that we have. But there's something about talking about God that makes it different. When you share about your experiences with God, it gives others hope. It lets them know that God is real to you, that he's working in the life of someone that they know. It lets others know God is for you and for them. So whether you find yourself unsure of what to say, or if you know exactly what to say, remember this: talking about God helps us know him better. Peter concludes this thought by saying this: but do this with gentleness and respect. This isn't just an afterthought, it's important because when you think about how conversations usually go when it comes to religion and faith, gentleness and respect aren't the words that tend to describe them. Oftentimes, it can feel like the exact opposite. So, how do you talk about your faith with gentleness and respect? Well, you don't talk about it just to start an argument. And you don't talk about it to shame or to judge someone. And you definitely don't talk about it because you're convinced that you're right and everyone who believes something different is wrong. Just share your story in a gentle and respectful way. When you share what's real for you, it makes you more real to others. It makes the conversation more authentic. When you share out of your heart and your own experiences with God, you come across as a real person who's had a real encounter with Jesus. Think about the things that you love to talk about. Chances are that you talk about those things because you're passionate about them. But also in the process of talking about them, you become even more passionate about them. Whether it's fashion, your favourite music artist, your favourite football team, video games, fishing, or the person that you're dating, you talk about what you care about. You aren't trying to, it's just a natural habit that you've formed. The same is true in your relationship with God. As you talk about him more, you'll discover that you get to know him better. And that's what I want you to do when it comes to your faith. Just start talking about it. But what does that look like practically? Here are a few steps to get you started. Firstly, speak up in your Hangout group. Hangout group is a great opportunity to talk about your faith. As you share, you never know if someone else will be able to relate to what you say. And don't forget that having questions and doubts about faith are part of your experiences as well. You don't need to only talk about your faith in an everything is perfect kind of way. Sometimes it's good for others to hear that things aren't perfect for you. This gives them the permission to share their own struggles. You don't have to have it all together and figured out to talk about it. Second, think about your story. Think about why you believe what you believe, or why you don't believe. Think about your personal experience on your faith journey. Write it down, type it, or say it out loud. Keep this in mind. Your story doesn't just have to be the things that have affected you. It can also be the things that have affected people around you. If your mum is a single mum, and she says something like, "The only way I survived is through God," that's part of your faith journey. She's your mum. The people who are around you are a key part of your story. So feel free to write down the ways that God has impacted their lives as well. And third thing, fill in the blanks. If you don't know where to start, try this formula. I was blank, but God blank, and now blank. Think about what was happening in your life before you invited God to be part of your daily choices. You know, it could sound like this: I was tempted to lie about my actions, or I was insecure about my appearances. Think about what God did for you and fill in the blanks. But God. It could sound like this. But God made promises that allowed my true self to be who he designed me to be. And then fill in the and now with something like this. And now I live with more confidence. You don't have to share your experience like everything worked out perfectly. Just tell your story with all its twists and turns without the pressure of making it all sound happy. So, as you make it a habit to talk about the reason why you believe what you believe, imagine if it not only stretched your faith but also helped the faith of people around you. Whether you're talking to people who believe what you believe or disagree, talking about God will help you get to know him better. So, as you share, as you hear others share, and as you make a habit of doing both, you're going to find yourself knowing God better. Remember, you don't have to know everything to share something.
That was another great challenge for us this week, to kind of share our story, to talk about God, and that will in turn then change our relationship or improve our relationship with God. Now, later on in your hangout groups, I really want to encourage you to share your story. Now, your story is different to the person next to you, so don't worry about that. Just share your story. Now, I thought that was unfair unless I was prepared to share my story, so I thought that's what I'm going to do right now. So, I was brought up in a Christian family, a loving Christian family, so kind of church and a relationship with God was kind of high on our agenda as a family, so it wasn't alien to me. I kind of understood from an early age what it all meant. But actually, at the age of 5, I went to an event in Stowmarket, a Christian event, where, the challenge was kind of given to me about kind of giving my life to Jesus. And that very night, myself and my brother went home, and beside our beds, we knelt down and we prayed a prayer, just asking God to be, a part of our lives and to start a relationship with him. Now, I know you're probably thinking, 5, that's far too young to make a decision like that. Surely you didn't understand what everything meant at that stage. And you know what? You're right. I didn't understand everything. But I think the important thing for me is that was a point where I could make a decision. At that moment, I made the decision that I wanted God to be part of my life. I didn't know what that looked like. I didn't know what that meant for the rest of my life. But I knew at that moment that that's what I meant. And I think that's why I love our faith and kind of our relationship with God so much, is because it is ever changing. It's something that if we put in these habits that we've been talking about over these last few weeks, that we can develop and grow in a relationship with him, and we can learn and understand more about what it means to be in a relationship with God. And so my life continued, and so probably, and when I was in my sort of mid to late teens, 15, 16, I guess, I kind of made more decisions of my own to kind of follow this Jesus on my own and not kind of live off the relationship my family had kind of instilled in me. So around this time, 15, 16, I got baptized, so that was a big decision in my life. And also around this time, the church that I attended employed a youth leader, and she was absolutely brilliant for me. She was great because she challenged me, she kicked me up the backside when I needed it, but also she taught me so much, and she helped me grow in my relationship with God. And actually, that's probably why I do the job that I do, because of her, because I realised the importance of having people like that in my life. And your hangout group leaders are that for you. They can challenge you, they can kick you up the backside, they can encourage you, and they can help you on this journey. So so that's why I kind of made that decision. And I guess my life continued, and my relationship with God has improved, and I can see how God has been in my life. So, I've had some really good times in my life, and I can see God in those really good times. But I've also had some really hard, tough things happen in my life, and which I've shared some of those before. And I can see how God has surrounded me with people through those times, and that is how my relationship and my faith has grown so much during that time. So, that is my story. I mean, I don't have it all sussed. I don't have it 100% sorted, but I think that's the good thing, that it's something that we can always continue to grow and improve our relationship and our faith in God. So, that's me sharing my story, and I'd love to encourage you to do that in your hangout groups later on. I think, hangout groups hopefully is a really safe place for you to do that. It's a place where hopefully you feel like you can be honest about your own walk with God. If you've got struggles, if you've got doubts or things that you're not sure if you believe, I really hope that you can share those in your groups. But also, it's really good for you to kind of encourage others as well. So yeah, share your stories. I'm sure your leaders will share their stories too. And it'd be great to kind of hear from you guys as well. So yeah, excellent. We're going to do that in a little while with our hangout groups, but we've still got things to go on. So what have we got next? We have got, what we can do next? I haven't got my program in front of me. We're going to do we're going to check our results, see how we're getting on with our results. So let's go on to our menti.com. Hopefully it's going to come up on the screen. How we got on? McDonald's is absolutely smashing it. We've got 10 people have voted for McDonald's. We've got 9 for Nando's, 6 for KFC, 5 for Pizza Hut, 1 for Subway. Poor old Subway. I'd definitely put my vote for Pizza Hut. So yeah, you've still got time to do that. Maybe if we've got time, we'll look a little bit later on. But now it's going to time to check out our Knock and Fun episode. So we've got our 4th episode. Like I said earlier on, we are going to test our leader's ability to use a Nerf gun. So let's check out our 4th episode.
We have a new game. A challenge for mind, body and spirit. Only the great shall prevail. What's it called, I hear you ask?
Knock and Fun! Knock and Fun! You have to watch closely cause we might show up with a camera and a host to wishing you luck. We'll come knocking with our theme tune rocking cause it's time to play! Knock and Fun!
Hello and welcome to another episode of Knock and Fun. What's your name? Where'd you come from?
Hi, I'm Meg. I'm in very white. I don't know what's going on.
Knock and Fun!
Okay, so round 3. We have the 3 cups set up and Meg is well equipped with the Nerf thing, and she is gonna have to shoot the cups off the bench. And
Is
take
it
them
like
away.
how fast I shoot that or how many shots it takes?
How fast?
Oh my life! Okay.
Marks, get set, go.
Oh, there's only one
Pull it
bullet
back
in there.
again.
I don't like it.
I think you've got to refill.
But there's right.
Yes!
I don't understand how that missed.
Oh, we'll let you have
We'll
that.
have it.
I think that would have gone. Go.
They're just getting lower and lower.
Because the bullet's lower and lower.
Oh, come off it.
Yeah, done.
That is really good.
That was quick. That was very quick. Go.
Go on.
Oh, nice. Oh.
Oh, come on. I think you're gonna have to reload.
Oh. Oh, nice. Go. Yes. Oh, almost 2 in 1 there. Big up. Yeah. Go. Yeah, pull it back. Yeah. That's good. Yes. That's good.
We have a new game. A challenge of the mind, body and spirit. Only the great shall prevail. What's it called, I hear you ask?
Nothing fun. Nothing fun. You have to watch closely because we might show up with a camera and a host to wishing you luck. We'll come knocking with our theme tune rocking 'cause it's time to play. Nothing fun.
Oh, it's getting very close on that leaderboard right now. We've got, I think it's only 5 points separating Nathan, who's top of the tree, and Megan and Zoe, who are just at the bottom of the tree. But it's only 5 points, so that could all change. We've got 2 weeks left. So, yeah, looking forward to seeing what happens next week with that. Very, very close. Okay, so our time is through. So it's now time for you to go into your Hangout groups. If you don't know what Hangout groups are, we say it every week, but if you would love to connect with one of those groups, it's just a great opportunity to kind of continue conversations on from today and just kind of, with some like-minded people like you, young people like you, and some amazing leaders that we've got in charge of those groups as well. But before we go into that, I would like to just pray for us as we finish. So let me just pray. Lord, thank you so much for our stories. Thank you that you have brought us here to Motion, and that Motion is part of our story, and it plays a big role in our story. Thank you for the people around us that we can learn from, that we can grow with and develop together in a relationship with you. Lord, I want to pray for anyone who's listening tonight that would love to start a relationship with you. I pray that you would give them the strength, the courage to talk to someone tonight. I pray that you would show them that they are loved and accepted and forgiven by you, and that you want to have a personal relationship with them. Lord, for those of us that already have some sort of relationship with you, I pray that you would help us to develop those habits that we've been talking about over this series to enable us to draw closer to you each day. Thank you, Lord. In your name. Amen. Amen. Thanks ever so much for joining us. I'll see you all next week for another great week of Motion Live. I hope you have a good and safe week. Take care. Bye-bye.